YouTube, what is going on? We're back with another Neverness to Everness video. So I've sunk about 10 plus hours into the beta, and I wanted to give some genuine, honest feedback. I've seen a lot of people doing this, and so I felt as if it's good to just give my overall thoughts on the video game and be honest about the things that I like, the things that I didn't, and truthfully, the things that I haven't tried. I hope the devs are watching this because I truly believe this game can be special and can be very good. And not that it's not a good game, because I really actually enjoy it, and there's systems in this that I really enjoy, which I'll get to. But yeah, I just hope they take their time with this. So let's get right into it. First, I'm going to start off visually. It's very demure, very mindful. From a very aesthetic perspective, the game is visually beautiful. I love the oversaturated graphics. I love the colors. I love the environment. The environment itself is really nice. We'll get to the environment and how I feel about the open world aspect of it, but it feels like a real AAA video game in the sense of design. It looks like an anime. I'm playing an anime game. That's what I'm going to say. I am playing an anime, and I was sitting on the train and it looked beautiful, or if you're running through the forest and there's mist and stuff, and it's like, they got it, brother. There was a section where I was stuck in this puzzle maze, and although I was getting tight, I was getting annoyed because that puzzle phase was low-key insufferable. That was still such a beautiful thing, and it's like, wow, the design here is top tier. It is very unique. Even the artifact domains, when you start an artifact domain, sometimes that transition is pretty crazy. So just visually, it's great. Diving deeper into visuals, because I'm just talking about the world, the characters, other than Mint and the main character, I think the character designs are good, but I think it is very hard to identify who is a 5-star. Sometimes the facial expressions are lacking. Some of the characters look a little Some of them look great. Again, I love Mint. Yeah, I can definitely see there being a problem where it's like some of these characters don't feel like, they feel a little generic, they feel a little bland, and I don't know what they could do to change that. I wish I knew. I don't think maybe you need full reworks or full redesigns. I think we could enhance some parts of their facial features, maybe add some shadows, maybe the coloring a little bit, because it feels like, it feels like a beta. So I have hope that the models for the characters themselves will improve. Again, some look crazy, and there's others that I'm not a fan of. Gameplay. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of criticism, and here's my thought. The normal attack skill, it's basic. It is basic. There's really nothing crazy or special about that. I do wish we had the capabilities to really do a lot of more swap cancelings, more animation cancelings, and really, because we have these hot swap mechanics, which I'll get to in a minute, in a sense where you have to swap to another character to trigger an elemental reaction, which again I'll talk about in a moment. But if I'm doing a tornado with Mint, and it's maybe at the end of the duration, why can't I swap to the main character and then pump out their burst, and then I do a skill with them and swap out? It just feels like it would be a more dynamic style, as opposed to I feel like I am kind of stuck on the screen with this person. And we've seen with other gacha games, or just other games in general, quick swapping is really fun. Quick swapping is a very good mechanic that I think adds a layer of depth and complexity and nuance, especially for the people who want to be really hardcore with the game. At this point, it doesn't seem like the game is really targeting that audience, which is fine. But I do believe that there is a market loss there where it's okay, the combat, just based off of that, can be a little simple. Now, the elemental reactions, I actually am a big fan of these. What I like about the elemental reactions is they have a list of reactions, right? So there's a certain subset of reactions, but in those reactions themselves, so I'll use Bloom for example, depending on the characters that you have in your party, you can actually enhance your Bloom reaction, give yourself an extra tree, make the blooms do more damage, you can make them go faster. I mean, there's tons of ways in which that you can enhance the reactions, and so it actually makes it more interesting, because as opposed to just having one static reaction and you use it with all these other characters, it gives you incentives to build different teams, try different team comps, and actually play different play styles, where it's okay, I want my Bloom to have 2 trees on the floor and throwing stuff out as fast as possible. So I think the elemental reaction system, I think they're onto something. I really do. I like the fact that it adds more depth and nuance to that. So I'm a big fan of that. The downside to the elemental reaction system is it does not feel important. And I understand that you don't want to lock people behind certain mechanics, and I get that. But when I was using the elemental reaction system, it felt pretty useless. I used the DOT, I used the enhanced one with Mint, and a character, one of the red categorized characters, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's not DOT, but it combines the damage, does a little more damage. And then I used the Bloom, and it wasn't really doing anything crazy. It was kind of just there. So I was doing it because I had fun with it, and I like the fact that I can make these different combinations with characters. There's those eight reactions, and then there's the subsections. But realistically, the reactions felt pretty useless. In my opinion, I think there's a way they can make these reactions be impactful, but not too impactful to the point where it overshadows everything else, right? If I want to trigger 3 reactions back to back to back to back, I want to feel rewarded for that. And I don't feel rewarded for doing these reactions. And I think there's a lot of people who've not only viewed the game, but are playing the game and don't know reactions exist. And that's because they're really not needed. And so I think that is that's really bad, because the system is very interesting, but again, why use it? Why do it if I'm not incentivized to do it? You know what I'm saying? So it's there, but it's not needed. So just because it's cool and it has really good mechanics, doesn't mean you should use it. Especially from a casual person perspective, they're just going to ignore it. So I really hope they redesign that in the sense of making it useful. The open world. I believe in an open world with a game like this, it's very hard to make it feel full and alive. They do a great job of visually making it look beautiful. And again, there's trains, there's a bunch of NPCs, there's a bunch of cars driving around. So in that sense, like, they got that on lock, right? But it doesn't feel as if there's not enough things to interact with. Obviously, you could buy like a coffee shop, you can go to the bank, you could like go to a rent-a-car spot, whatever the case may be. Sometimes there's cars lying around that you can rent, but the world doesn't feel live and full and active. And now that is a hard thing. I don't know how they could deliver on, because also there really isn't like a lot of mobs. I'll run around the world and for an hour, and maybe I would get 2 instances of a mob attack coming out to fight me from like the shadows, and that's normally in like the back streets or stuff, right? So when you're in a situation like this where it's not going to be like GTA, you can't interact with every NPC, you can't like do crazy activities. I'm not going to state what they are, but you can't do things like that. And I'm not saying you should make it like that. Your interactions are going to be limited. So I wish there was ways, I wish there was more things to make it feel better. I wish there was more mobs. I wish there was mobs in the middle of the street. Make instances where it's like, hold on a second. Like, no, I'm not walking past like this little thing by the water and I'm now going to fight a mini boss. Like, hey, like, I'm in the middle of the street. It's nighttime and something drops from the sky in the middle of traffic. And now traffic is upheld. You're like, okay, I have to take care of this. Like, I think those more random instances need to occur often. And again, I think there needs to be more places for us to interact with, because based on the few things, while they are cool, there is just not enough to do. Also, with the open world, we need more TP points. The driving is fun. The driving is driving, man. It's not Need for Speed. It handles like every driving in any open world game. So it's nothing crazy there. But they really rely on you driving everywhere. And I'm not against that, but we need more teleport points. The teleport points, we need more of those. It gets a little annoying when I have to drive 5 minutes to go to a spot. It's like, okay. It's not 5 minutes, but you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I just want to TP to this. I just want to TP there. Now, the one thing that I did really like, actually, and I hope they do more of this, is they have these little, I would count them as like Monster Hunter bounties, where you can go into the menu and you can pick an enemy and you can track the enemy and you can fight it. That enemy could drop a lycone, that enemy could drop like maybe an artifact. That I like. I just, obviously it's a beta, so there's only so many, but I do again wish there was more of those and whatnot, but I think that was pretty cool. Story. I don't know what's going on in the story. I'm not gonna lie to you. As I've said, my translator was not working. It's in Chinese. I don't know. Visually, the story had me hooked. I did not skip any cutscenes. The areas were beautiful. They were sick with the horror stuff. I really, really enjoyed the horror stuff. The only part of the story I didn't like was the little maze, but that's whatever. But the way they are telling a story, it feels like you were watching an anime. And I think if they continue to go down that route, even if the story could potentially not be the best, the visuals of the story itself are a massive W. So I don't know too much about the story in depth, but I do know that I was not bored 1 second watching these cutscenes. It was absolutely amazing. There's moments where it's serious. There's moments where they don't take themselves too serious, and it's funny and it's goofy. It just felt very unique. And the animations during these cutscenes and in the story are very lively. Again, it feels like an anime. So that's a positive, right? I'm going to be honest with you. I have not tested much with the store system and the car system and whatnot. I'm going to be very transparent with you. Those are the things that it was 100% in Chinese. The translator wasn't doing too great. So I didn't test those and tell you. I can't give you like a genuine, honest like breakdown of how good the other cars are, or the coffee shops, how are those performing, or the bank stuff. I like that there is a money system. It makes you feel like you have to save your money because some of that stuff is expensive. I didn't do the house mechanic because, again, I was not in the mood to translate every single little thing. So I can't give you very genuine feedback on that. I don't know. I don't know. I saw that there was a bunch of bugs with the house system, but I mean, those systems, I did do a little bit with the coffee shop. And I was kind of like, I had to buy materials and then I had to keep going back and forth to translate what I needed to buy and stuff. It's like, I can't do this. Like when it comes out, I'll try it. So I'm sure those systems are fine. I don't think there's going to be anything bad about those systems. Just a really negative. Maybe like, the cars can be faster than other cars or whatever. Like, but I don't think there's going to be anything horrible. I do wish though that there was like bikes available, scooters, hoverboards. I do wish like there was other things besides just vehicles to travel through the back alleys and just to go around. And listen, man, what if I'm poor? What if I make a bad investment? My coffee shop goes under and now I got no cash money. Well, if I can go get a rent-a-bike like it is in, a bunch of states, I'll use that, right? So I think that'd be pretty sick. I believe the game will have multiplayer racing. I just don't see it not. It's made by TOF. TOF had that, so like that will come with time. But my overall impressions is I think this is a very casual, friendly game that is good. It needs some more polishing. Again, some of the combat, the sound effects are not the best. The hits don't always feel like that they're doing a lot of impact, like especially plunges. Overall, it is a very solid video game, and I think they're trying to tackle a whole new genre. And I think my biggest points is make the world feel more open, make there more things to interact with. You can create more mobs, more enemies. Just make it feel a little bit more lively. And I would really like to see the elemental system be more integrated into combat. I really would. And so yeah, man, I think Neverness to Everness has potential to be a very, very, very. I think it has potential to be a great game. Honestly, I just think it needs a little bit more time in the oven. Fix these characters models, make them feel a bit more special. Really try to distinguish the 4 stars from the 5 stars. We don't know anything about the gacha. There was no gacha in the beta, but I don't think anything's gonna be crazy. I don't think it's gonna be like a bad gacha system. I'm sure it's gonna be basic stuff. But yeah, make the world feel more lively, fix these characters, make elemental reactions a bit better, and I think we have something really a great, solid start. Also, I really hope there's a real end game. I don't know if there is at the moment from what I've done in the testing, but I hope that there is activities in which that if people just like the combat, they can go in there and do that and endlessly and have fun. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Mwah. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.
Just calling my name. So come on, baby, let's